Okay, tuple function, we already looked at tuple function earlier, I think. There it is. Okay, so tuple function can be used to convert something into a tuple. So suppose if you have a list and you want to convert that into a tuple. Okay, so we already looked at, so if you do tuple and then a string, okay, so whatever the string may be, okay, so each element is peeled off and then set as an element of the tuple. Okay, so which we already saw. Okay, suppose we have a list. Okay, so let's call it L1, say 3, 4, 5. Now you want tuple of L1. Okay, I'll just say T underscore L1. Then if you want to convert this list into a tuple, then we have to use the tuple function. Okay, so now that tuple has become, the list has become a tuple. Okay, let's look at some built-in functions. So there are not a whole lot of built-in functions, but let's look at what we have. Say we have T7. Let's create a tuple. Okay. Now, if you use the length function, okay, that will give us how many elements there are. Okay, so there are 10 of them. Then you can, there is a max function, and this will work only if the elements of the tuple are numbers. Okay, remember, the tuple can have anything. So I didn't give an example of that. Okay, I'll show you in just a second. So if you say max T7, then it's going to say 6, because 6 is the largest number in the sequence of numbers. Suppose if our tuple is that. Then if I use max, okay, so you'll get an error in this case. Okay, because the tuple, it's not all, the elements of the tuple are not all numbers. So max doesn't make any sense. And then you have min, and again min is also the same like max. It will work only if the elements are numeric. Okay, and then we have And then there is another function, say, let's say T7 and count. Okay. Now, for count, you have to give an input. Okay, what do you want to count? Okay. If you want the length of the tuple, okay, how many elements there are, then that function is len. Len, the name of the tuple, will give you how many elements there are. Count is about the elements inside it, and you have to say, okay, a particular element, and you want to count how many of that value is in the tuple. Say, if I say 2, then it will count how many 2's there are. Okay, if I say 3, then it will tell us how many 3's there are. Okay, so there are 2 2's and 3 3's. Okay. Okay, so that's count. And then there is index. So say T8 dot index. Now T8 is that, right? Now I'm saying T8 dot index. I want the index of A. Okay. And it tells you the index is 3. Suppose if I say T8 index of 9. Okay, 9 is not in the tuple, so it gives you an error. Yes?
Why is the index 3? Is it just counting the numbers on, in 33, is it just counting the numerical values in there? Yes?
You mean the count?
No, for what you just did, for when you type the string in there, why did it give you 3?
Oh, the index. It is the index.
Is it just
Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, okay.
So the index starts, Python, the index starts at 0.
Okay.
The starting place is 0, and then count from there. So if you want to learn more about tuple, so just search for Python tuples, then we have Python tuples, access, update, and unpack, and loop, and join, and all kinds of stuff. You can look for help from here. Okay. Now let's review what we did for tuples. So tuples can be created by simply typing a bunch of elements separated by comma. And you can optionally provide parentheses around it, but you do need parentheses around if there are complex elements. Like, for example, another tuple inside a nested tuple, or you want to nest lists inside. Then you have to have that parenthesis. And then you can use the tuple function. The tuple function is used to convert some other element into a tuple. If you give it a string, it will just separate the characters of the string and assign that as one element each into a tuple. Okay, and the tuple elements, tuples are immutable, which means you cannot increase the length, you cannot decrease the length, right? You cannot change any element, except there is one exception, and that is if an element inside the tuple is mutable, then those elements can be changed. And you access the tuples by index with square brackets, starting from 0. And if you have a multiple element, then you just put another set of square brackets. And then you have, you can add tuples together to create another tuple. You can multiply a tuple by an integer number, then it will make as many times as the number that you provided. You can unpack tuples, okay, and you have some built-in functions, min, max, count, index, length, and so on. Okay.